But what's it mean to you to know that you will go down in history as somebody who led the Dodgers to a World Series title?
That's overwhelming. Someone just mentioned it to me, just recently. As far as Los Angeles Dodgers, it's Walt Alston, it's Tommy, and myself, and that's a very obviously elite company. So I really don't let my mind go there very often. I'm kind of in the now, but to take a step back and to have Cito Gaston give me a call as the first African-American manager to win a World Series, and to know it in that context with this organization, pretty overwhelming.
Dave Roberts joining us. It certainly has to be, Dave. I'm curious, when you look at the NL West, I talked to Adrian Gonzalez on my podcast the other day, and he was all fired up because he's been on both sides. He played for the Padres. He played for the Dodgers. He's fascinated by the NL West, and, you see what the Padres are doing, and they're coming strong. This suddenly is not a small market team that won't take that big swing. They are loading up, and they're coming fast. I'm curious how you process that part of it. Do you see what they're doing? Do you concern yourself with that, or is the mindset always, you know what, we don't have to deal with them, they have to deal with us?
Yeah, I mean, I think the reality is obviously I applaud Peter Seidler, has Dodger pedigree with the O'Malleys, and A.J. Preller, what they're doing, locking up Tatis, one of the game's best players, and they've got a farm system. They've done a great job. So obviously we understand what they're doing. The geography speaks to a rivalry. It's great for Southern California. It's fantastic for the NL West. It's great for baseball. But I think for me, and you said it, I think the main thing for us is to continue to do what we do. And I like that old Vince Lombardi. It's, we're going to go student body left, student body right. They know we're coming. We just got to mind our own blocking assignments, and we'll be fine. So I think that's what I really believe intrinsically with our club.
Dave Roberts, my guest. It's not like you stood pat either. You add Trevor Bauer. You already had a great rotation last season, and then you add a Cy Young Award winner. What was your reaction when that became official? What does he bring to the club?
I was like, let's go.
Right. You know it.
So Trevor is a Bruin. I'm a Bruin. So we kind of run in similar but different circles. I've admired him from afar for many years, obviously, and rooted for him. Just having a chance to be teammates with him and coach him, I'm excited about it. I know he's thrilled about rooting for or playing now for the team he rooted for as a kid. And Romy, we've had many conversations already about culture, leadership. He's just so cerebral, so curious about data and, our pitch development guys. He's already kind of back and forth with those guys and just really understands his body. He's always evolving, which is great, but I think he's going to be obviously a huge get for the Dodgers.
I think, Dave, it's a given, number one, how effective he is as a guy who takes the ball. It's a given how interested he is in the analytics. When you talk about culture and leadership, like what kind of things did you discuss with him?
I think the thing is he's just really intrigued by the fact that you could have a performance coach in a bullpen session or a strength and conditioning coach in the batting cage with the hitting coach, and how the players, coaches, and different medical and training staff and coaching staff all are integrated. And how does that come to be? Because a lot of what he's known in sports, it's all separate, and everyone's got their own lanes, as we call it in baseball. And we blur those lines, and he's just really curious and how we go about, each day and always. If I'm thinking the same things, next year, then I'm not growing. And I think for me, with culture and leadership, we're always trying to grow.
Dave, that's so interesting what you just said. Like, there are lanes, right? There are lanes. And, in fact, there were lanes that weren't even constructed back in the day. And now we have this crazy super highway when all these lanes run together. Exactly how do you make that work?
You know what? It's constant. It's a constant. Not battle, but it's constant conversations. And I think for me, Romy, I have a lot of joy when I see crossover, when I see pitching guys talking hitting guys, because, and I see the infield guy, Dino Ebo, talking to hitting coaches and talking about swing pass and talking to Mark Pryor, our pitching coach. And for me, it's complete elation. And I think that's where people always ask about the Dodgers and the secret sauce and how we get guys to realize their full potential, whether it's Chris Taylor or Max Muncy. It's because when they come into this environment, it's an environment for people to thrive individually and ultimately collectively.
Dave Roberts joining me for a few more moments. Mark Pryor was something else, man. What a great pitcher. Like, what great command, pitcher. The way he handled himself. What's he been like to have around?
Mark's been great. So we were at odds early. He was a Trojan, Romy.
Yeah, he
so
was.
You can align with me with the UC schools. So he was a Trojan. So wasn't didn't think too fondly of him. But we share the same agent, John Boggs, and he kind of made that connection. But Mark was a great player. Went and worked in the front office for the Padres. I was lucky enough to have him as our pitching coach, and he is fantastic. Has a relationship with the players. Really good content. He'll be a major league manager at some point, I have no doubt.
Now, Dave, what you just said is so interesting to me. You mentioned now a couple of times that you're a Bruin. You're a Bruin. And before you came on earlier in the program, I had a conversation with golfer Colin Morikawa, who went to UC Berkeley. And I started the conversation by saying, you're the pride of Cal. And I want to say that we UC guys stick together. I went to UC Santa Barbara. You went to UC Berkeley. I've got a podcast, Dave, with Brian Shaw, former NBA great who went to UC Santa Barbara. And you yourself have said it. I didn't bring it up, but you are a UC family, a UC guy. What did the college baseball experience mean to you, and how much pride do you have in the fact that you are a product of the UC system?
I have a lot of pride. I really do. I think the UC system is probably the best academic system in my opinion, and I think especially bang for your buck, and my bias, absolutely. But I think for me, college baseball was where I really evolved into not just a three-sport athlete, but a baseball player, and I grew as a man and adult. These are some of my best friends, Romy, my college roommates, my college teammates, and I don't know, my son's playing college baseball right now, and some of the best times of my life. So I always look back at my time at UCLA pretty fondly.
I love that. You know, when you talk about bang for your buck, and by the way, Dave, I'm sure they're tired of me saying it. I just don't give a damn, all right? I'm really proud that I'm a product of that public school system. I'm really proud. Really proud that I'm a product of the UC system. Dave, not to age myself, but I'm not a young guy anymore. When I went to UC Santa Barbara, the quarterly BARC statement, the tuition was $500 a quarter for tuition. Is that any good? You think you're getting much bang for your buck? $500 a quarter.
Dude, you can't debate that, man. The UC system, best bang for your buck.
$500. I appreciate it.
That's ridiculous.
Isn't that the best thing ever, man? That is so good. Too bad that none of us could ever get into these UC schools anymore today.
No doubt.
But $500. Listen, last thought. What, in talking to coaches and managers from across the sports world, it always comes up. After you win a world championship, you are just seen. You are viewed differently. My question, Dave, do you feel any differently?
I don't know, Romy. I think probably, I guess now that we finally crossed the finish line and we are world champions, so they can't take that away. So I think that there is some, again, it goes back to, man, we did it. So we are world champions, and a lot of the stuff, and Romy, you and I talk a lot about process. So it just, the world is results-driven, and it does matter. So it just validates a lot of the things that we as a Dodgers believe. So I do think that the industry sees us different, and we finally got it done. So certainly very proud.
Hell yes.